The Legions of Athena, Chapter 20. Far towards the northwest of the city of Athens, in the borderlands between the countries of Mars and Minerva, a great thunderstorm raged. The rocky wastelands that lay bridged between the two nations were being bombarded by rain and hail and deafening claps of thunder. The storm looked as though it stretched across the borders of the two countries, but this was a lie, for the eye of the storm was well protected from the tempest around it, as well as from preying eyes and other sensors. Here in the middle of the tempest, across 3 miles of land on which not a drop of rain fell, 80,000 soldiers of Ares awaited the orders of their war god. Floating above the battle-ready army, shading them in its shadow, was the war god's personal air fortress, the Athon. The floating airship of red and bronze, it had enough firepower to take on a small army on its own, and acted as the war god's command center on the battlefield. Within the Athon, above its command bridge, was a lavishly built war room used for strategic war councils and planning. It was a large room with a balcony out front that literally touched the sky. Within the room, on the large and imposing captain's helm that would put most thrones to shame, sat Ares himself, and he was not happy. The reason for Ares' dismay stood near the balcony, staring out into the stormy sky, wearing a well-tailored suit and winged shoes. What was missing, though, was the smirk that was usually fixed on the messenger god's face. He had just informed Ares about all that had happened to Daedalus and Perseus. The news more than soured the god's mood. "So the inventor is dead?" Ares asked once again, and Hermes nodded. Yet why is that washed-up traitor Perseus still breathing after such a betrayal? Ares raged. Hermes was getting tired of repeating himself. Because Poseidon's trident now watches over the said traitor. Ares roared in anger like a wild beast in pain, but no matter how enraged he got, it wouldn't change what had happened. This was not how it was supposed to play out, Hermes thought to himself. He had made sure that the old inventor reached Athens safely, hoping that it would be the end of it, and also to make sure that Ares did not gain favor from their boss, but he just wouldn't let it go. Perseus was expected to bring him back alive, and that would be the end of it, he had thought. But now there was no telling what their benefactor would do. After all, he was not used to being denied. "Does he know yet?" Ares asked, and Hermes nodded again. "Then what does he expect us to do?" Ares shouted, and Hermes didn't bother responding. A few tense minutes passed before a door opened, and Deimos, the god of fear, entered. "Did I not order you that I must not be disturbed?" Ares screamed at his commander. Deimos bowed and said, "Forgive me, my lord, but someone requests an audience." Ares was just about to shout again, but a man entered and shoved Deimos, stating, "Get out of here, small fry. I need no permission." The man, or rather god, needed no introduction either. It was Apollo, the sun god. Deimos bowed once again to his master and quickly left the room. Apollo closed the door behind him before saying, "Well, you guys screwed up. What in the name of Tartarus are you doing here?" Ares said, gritting his teeth. "Do you think I want to be here?" Apollo spat back. "I was enjoying a fine festival when I received word to deliver a message. So here I am staring at your ugliness, pig face." This was the last straw for Ares. He stood up infuriated. A crimson aura covered his body. His muscles began to bulge. His arms began to get bigger. But Apollo was not backing down either. His eyes lit up with sunlight and he was floating off the ground. His bow had appeared in his hand. The entire ship began to vibrate due to the intensity of their power. Hermes, however, was unruffled. He knew that they wouldn't strike. A fight among Olympian gods could shatter countries, and even these two weren't foolish enough to start a battle over nothing. "If you two are done flexing, I would like to hear the message you have brought us, Apollo," Hermes interrupted sternly. It took a moment, but the two of them backed down. Ares sat down again, muttering, and Apollo turned to Hermes. "Well, he's not happy," Apollo said the storm will disappear within the hour. Hermes did not reveal it, but hope filled him inside. If the storm ends, then it would mean Ares would have nothing to hide behind and would have to retreat to behind his borders. Ares, however, was outraged. "What? My army has been rearing for war. What does he expect of me?" Apollo let out a bored sigh. "You don't still get it, do you, piggy? The boss was only interested in getting his hands on the inventor. That is why he promised to take down the Aegis wall. Now that he's dead, he has no interest in your petty little squabbles." Apollo moved forward to take a seat and began going through some maps. "Then does he expect me to tuck tail and run?" Ares said through gritted teeth. It took a moment for Apollo to answer. "No, as I said, he doesn't care. Which means he might not help you, but he won't stand against you either." He took a moment to see the confusion on Ares' face. "Honestly, the only person he's angrier at than you two is Athena, you know, for protecting the inventor for so long." Hermes felt as though something heavy had just fallen into his chest. Which means Ares had figured it out as well. A sickeningly satisfied grin contorted his face as he continued. "Now is the time to strike." Hermes couldn't believe it. After all the trouble he had gone to, in the end it didn't matter. Ares was going to march on to Athens. Hermes began to walk to the door when Ares asked, "And now where are you off to?" Hermes sighed and replied, "Back home, to Mercury. I want to be far away from here when the fighting starts." "Really? I was thinking of sticking around to see how it plays out," Apollo said. Hermes forced a smile at the sun god and said, I'm afraid I have no interest in the matter. I don't care about the outcome or who the victor is or the glory of battle. War is war, and unless you're an arms dealer, war is bad for business. This has been a chapter from Book 2 of the new World Odyssey Series, The Legions of Athena. Links to the books in the bio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next chapter.